Okay, so we're live, but let me get everything. I'm the engineer as well, so I've got to make sure everything's all right. Whew, I'm getting a sudden DNA upgrade or something.
That's me.
Probably. Well, it usually is. It's a mix of the energies. Sometimes I get them before. I get different things happen during the show.
Yeah.
Okay, we're going to give it a little bit of time. Facebook is suppressing us, which is not a bad thing. It's just a reality. So if these shows resonate with you, please share to your page or to one group maybe, because it'll keep us above their algorithms. Got 14 people in the house. I give it about another 30, 45 seconds. Just want to say thank you, everybody, for your continued love, support, and contribution so we can keep this going. We're 100% viewer supported at this time. I think we'll probably always have that collective aspect, but at the same time, I think we're going to be also bringing in other means. Let me welcome a few people. Jackie Farrell. I did not know you were in Luxor, Egypt till last night, and I saw your messages to my friend, who I can't. God, what is her name? Jennifer from Kauai, my neighbor. Let's see. Paul Castaneda just went to Sedona. Michael Fox and his beautiful wife, Carrie Fox. Marlena, Marcan, Mark Stevens, my brother in Utah. Aja de Matera is in the house. She was on, a very beautiful lady. Delia Flores, Trisha Craigle, Sasha Grace, Liz Pronte Sedgwick, Garrett Petrov, Sheila Sen, she's coming on soon again. Diane McLaughlin, Shannon Corona, Joan Kirkendall, Mira Ginsburg, Belinda Frank. Did I miss anybody? Maria Williams, Mary Cooper, always here, every single episode. Thank you, Mary. You're the Soulogy Community Member of the Year, I think. Kate Whelan, Dynamic Young Divine Feminine, Melissa Lack, Lainey Reed, Shelley Soul's in the house. I'm just messing with you. Lynn Wheatman, Mary Kavork, Linda Frank, Honey Borden. She's coming on soon. We just set the date a while ago. I don't know what it was. I don't have that 3D memory lapse going. Okay, Lapis Luna. We got a lot of people in here. I can't keep up with this. 38 people in the house. We love every one of you. Soraya Williams, yeah, Katarina Armour, Raquel Toombs, my dear friend from Canada. Would love to get you back on. I need to reach out to you or vice versa. So we have a really special show today, the midday show, the second of 3. We'll probably have a radio show tonight. Let me just welcome everybody to SoulSpeaks 5D, the Soulogy.One network. The SoulSpeaks 5D is a conversation with today. It's Shelley Soul. She's in service to the divine and closely connected to the angelic in the cosmic realms. She's the founder of the Blue Heart Animal Sanctuary. We're going to find out about that. She's facilitating the creation of Divine Liberations, a spiritual center retreat on 40 acres in Western North Carolina. Why does that sound familiar? She is a channel of divine love, wayshower, guardian, gatekeeper, and activator, serving as a catalyst for your divine remembrance. She offers light language activations, diamond light energy attunements, using soul frequency alchemy for DNA activation, chakra balancing, and overall divine restoration. Thank you for sharing space with us and honoring us with your presence. Welcome to SoulSpeaks 5D.
Thank you.
Thank
Honored
you.
to be here.
We're honored to have you here. I don't know if you've ever watched any of these episodes, but anyone that's new gets initiated by answering, when did you wake up?
Well, it's been I say I had a sudden awakening in 2017, but as I've been reviewing what led me up to that point, it's been a lifelong process for sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I asked somebody that about 10 days ago, and she said, I think it was like a Tuesday. She said Sunday. But you said something about 2017, and right. there is levels. I think levels of awakening. In fact, I'm going to say in 2019, I probably had 2 or 3. It's like, I thought I knew this, but I don't know nothing, and
Right.
that expansion just brings in more moments of I was stupid, which is a door to higher wisdom, I think. Yeah.
Greater
So
awareness.
you, yeah. So you, like most people say that too, and I say this a lot. They say that I've had it my whole life, and then I got shut down for a while and entered the 3D and came back. But you're pretty, you got a pretty diverse bio there. So you've had to be in this stuff for a while. Some of this, I mean, the light language. How long you been doing the light language?
So I stepped into remembering my gift as a clear channel in
Yeah.
January 2018.
Are you serious?
Oh, yeah.
So you're not on the
On the
fast track.
fast track.
You're on warp speed.
I am.
Wow. So we gotta hear this. So wait a minute. So let's go back to 2017. So look, so 2017, you feel like you had some type of, I mean, it wasn't deal, but I'm just saying there was something that was prominent there that sticks out. What happened?
Well, I'll back up a tiny bit because my whole life I've had this like giving, caring heart because I've had this passion for taking care of animals. I
Hmm.
founded a nonprofit animal sanctuary in 2001 in Florida. And so my whole life has been dedicated to be of service in that way. And I was an extremely introverted person, pretty much shut down and not able to communicate. And um, I think it was well, it was the beginning of 2017. I was finally able to get my physical vessel back in alignment. And when you're struggling with health issues, it's really difficult. I found it difficult to be in that place of connectivity when you're in a lot of extreme pain, at least in the beginning. And so I started a nutritional rebalancing program. It'll be 2 years actually at the end of this month. And I really believe that clearing all that toxic garbage out of my cells allowed me like to be a very open sponge, to have this great foundation to bring in these high frequencies.
Yeah, yeah.
And it was August of 2017. Oh, sorry. It was June of 2017 when I actually manifested falling, rollerblading. And then a week later, well, I broke my wrist. Um,
Mm.
but I didn't give any energy to the pain. I just kept telling myself that my body has the perfect ability to heal itself. And I just imagined like pure source God energy coming into my wrist. And every day I would say, my wrist is getting better and better. It's getting stronger and stronger. I know my body has the perfect ability to heal itself. And a week later, I went to the doctor and my wrist was healed. So that kind of put me on a whole new trajectory in life because the work that I've been doing with animals, which, my whole life I've been caring for and rehabilitating and healing animals, I didn't realize that it worked for people too. So it was in August then when I took a crystals class at a community college just because I love
At
crystals.
a, at a community college, were they teaching like woo woo, or were they just teaching like this is this crystal, this is that crystal?
No, it was actually billed as a crystals class, but it was an 8-week series of basically activating your light body. And the town that I live in is very traditional Southern Baptist. I live in a very
Mm.
rural area, so the fact that this was offered in this town was, was pretty out there. And when she put the stones on me, it was as if someone flipped a light switch. I was just,
Wow.
oh my God, like what is this? And then, of course, the ascension process, this process, the release started, and I started weeping and crying, and I was like, what the fuck is happening? And
Yeah, right.
I over my shoulder, and the girl goes, oh, you've never done energy work like this, have you? And I was just like, no, like what's happening? And she's like, it's okay, just breathe. And I was like,
Yeah.
oh. And the
Yeah,
woman
yeah.
really
Sometimes I want to hit people when they say that. Just breathe. I'm like,
just breathe.
yeah.
It really does work though, for
I
sure.
know it. I know it
Yeah.
does, but it's like some of these, that old new age, which really I think was, well, whatever. But some of these are kind of cliche-ish, and you just
Right,
like want to
right.
pop somebody sometime. Yeah.
For sure.
Um, but there's a couple of interesting things come up. I want you to continue, but
Yeah.
you said going into it, you going into this whatever, the more elevated awakening, you've been working with animals for a long, long time, right? And so, were you just by instinct utilizing your heart, utilizing your power, your whatever Reiki, whatever, the way you did to yourself eventually on the animals?
Yeah, without the conscious awareness of what I was
That's
doing.
what I mean. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
So I mean, like,
It's
yeah, in
all heart, it's
retrospect,
all
yeah,
love. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. So in other words, you were caring for the animals and helping the animals heal, but obviously your heart was probably the major factor in it all, I would imagine. Then it translated into your own experience, and then you have this crystal class, and you
Right.
get activated. And I think it's funny too about the weeping thing too, because I had certain things happen to my body over the years, like that metal smell, and you feel like you got a film on you, you got to take a shower. But
Mm.
recently, I've had a lot of seepage, like coming out of my eyes every morning, and it would just keep going and going. I wonder if that's what it is. I don't know if that's what it is. But so you went into August, and you started getting the ascension process, and that was just in 2017.
Yeah, I actually had my first energy healing session on the total solar eclipse. So it was the end of August.
Mm,
That was really instrumental because after that
mm.
time, nothing else like really mattered. Like that resonated with me on such a deep level. And then I began having angels giving me messages. And,
Mm.
once you're connecting in that way, you're on the right path.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Game on, right?
Game on. Yeah. Oh,
So, I think one of the benefits of this program is, and you're a practitioner now, so
yes.
there's a lot of people. I mean, all the practitioners that are coming on now, they're saying, "Man, people are waking up and they're coming in the door right and left."
Mhm.
So I think it's good, because not everybody is at the same level and all that stuff. But some of the things that we go through, or you go through, or others go through, they haven't gone through, and we've all gone through. Am I crazy? Did this really happen? So can you just tell me how you experienced angels, and how they popped in, and what they felt like, or what you saw or didn't see, or whatever, just so we might can help some of our brothers and sisters that
Sure.
are in for that surprise.
Yes. Yeah. Well, I think, the first thing is you'd have to be in a place of believing,
Yeah.
and it's, surrendering. Um, I was in an energy session, and, when you're guided with someone who is a caring, loving practitioner, it's easy to connect into those realms, especially with the help of our crystal friends, because they just amplify the energies. But, she took me to the crystalline world, and when you feel that energy, that divine love, there's no human words for it.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was a divine being that had a message for me. And the woman who was facilitating, thank you, Kathy Egan, she said, "Well, is
Mhm.
there a name? Is there a name?" And the name was Hamiel, Hamael. And
Mm.
I was not a religious person at all, and I wasn't connected to the angels. So I was like, I don't know, I've never heard of an angel like that. I've heard of Michael and maybe one or two others, but this wasn't
Mhm.
in my realm of awareness at the time. But the message was, you're a facilitator. Trust God and allow it to be. And so when I came home, I was like, oh, is there an archangel Hamiel? And I immediately found, oh, it's Haniel, Haniel, and her message is usually trust and allow, relax and receive. And then I was just like, oh shit, that's
Yeah.
almost the same thing. And then
Yeah.
from there, it's just continued.
So
It is all just about
yeah.
surrendering, trusting, allowing, just knowing that you aren't crazy. I mean, if I could turn this camera around, I've got this wall over here, and I used to call it my wall of crazy because when I was trying to figure all this shit out, I mean, I was just like, I have things up here. Remember who you are, and about you know, it's all about love. It's
Yeah.
all about love. And in the beginning, it is kind of scary because you think you're losing your mind, and especially if you don't have the support of your family. Right
Yeah.
when I woke up, my husband of 19 years exited.
Isn't it funny how that happens to everybody?
I'm grateful now.
Yeah.
Time I went through some suffering, but
Yeah.
now, I mean, we're close friends, and now I'm
Yeah.
just thank you for stepping out of the way, because we just began to operate on different frequencies. No judgment whatsoever,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
like on two different radio stations. And, you know, when you're first waking up, it is that roller coaster. You're in the fourth dimension. You're aware of it up
Yeah.
here. You're constantly triggered, and it's this, ugh.
Yeah.
So him exiting actually allowed me to operate up here on a more consistent basis, because I wasn't constantly triggered. So thank you, Chad Roll.
I think that's another good point to hopefully you know, there's a couple of things here that I want to make. I want to emphasize. One is to the people that are just waking up, or whatever you want to call it. One is that you do have these you know, strikingly significant events happening at the same time of the awakening, which they're very much contrasted to what you're experiencing in the higher dimension. That's what you're referring to, that roller coaster. So I think the other thing that you bring up that's important is a support system. You mentioned family, and I don't know of a light worker yet that I've met that had any family support. So the good news is, for those just waking up, there's a lot of people out there you can reach out for. There's a lot of shows like this and different things like that. The other thing that I think is really amazing, it hasn't come up before, 900 plus shows, and that is that this is all occurring to you in August of 2017. So you've gone through this quick acceleration of not just being physically misaligned, which you understand why now, and two, that you went from an introvert to someone who doesn't have a problem, you know, speaking their mind and throwing out an F-bomb. But I'm just playing with you. But so, but what's amazing is now you're talking the summer of 17, and by January of 18, you're speaking light language, right?
Yes.
So just remember that, everybody. If it starts happening to you, you're not crazy. Go ahead.
Well, and a lot of that has to do with this land, because over these years, I've energetically tuned this land to this high vibration frequency. It is unconditional love here. I'm drinking this water that comes out of the mountain that runs through all these beautiful crystals. That's this living, vortextualized water. My body is in perfect alignment now because of this nutritional rebalancing program that I've been on. So I'm not bombarded with all these toxins. We are these light bodies. And when we're eating really shitty foods, especially like the DNA of other animals, it confuses things in your body, in my opinion. And I do believe that being this clear, like, foundation has allowed me to bring on these energies like really super fast. I've also have two children who are crystal children. They see multidimensionally. And so as I was waking up, my children began to step into their gifts and abilities even more so. And so when your children are seeing interdimensionally, multidimensionally, the energies here, what we're calling in, it's powerful. It is a very powerful place.
That probably made it easier on you too, to be honest with you.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. I mean,
now,
my daughter has wisdom.
Yeah. That seems to be coming out now too. There's more and more of that coming out. We'd love to get some kids on the show, you know, because we've had some young people, early 20s, but had a couple, I think, younger, but they carried, I mean, it's not even what they say. It's just the energy that they exhibit, you know. So,
my daughter's 15 in human years, which is a real stick point for her, because, you know, her soul wise, you know, she's an ancient being, and channeling her own light language and her own.
Is that right?
Oh yeah. She does this healing with people's feet. She's helped me tremendously clear a lot of traumas. I'll be like, oh, I've got this little pain here. And she'll be like, okay, let's see what this is. And she does this stuff with your feet that she remembers. And she says she sees like a 360-degree view, and she'd be like, oh, this is what it is. And she can bring it in, which allows me to see it. So I've cleared some really pretty severe past life traumas. And then I haven't even gotten into the traumas that I've experienced in this lifetime that I've cleared.
That's amazing. That's amazing. Now, does she see them in that way, or does she just see energy or symbols or, you know, a dark color or obstruction, or does she see it as, oh, this was a past life or trauma or ancestral trauma?
You'd have to ask her. The way she
Yeah.
describes it is, she sees like a 360-degree view of like all these different aspects, and then whatever
Wow.
is related to, she's able to bring it through.
Wow.
I've cleared traumas of being, drowned and, beaten and all kinds of stuff. But anyway.
Very cool. Somebody asked a question and I just didn't want to let it go.
Okay.
And this is one I just, you know, so Shaz is asking, are you saying that if you're still triggered, then you're still in 4D? And I'll give it to you in a second, but I just want to make it, it's hard to use these terms, these labels or whatever. Mm-hmm. But I personally don't see where getting triggered is anything that anyone needs to be overly concerned about, other than if they continue to get triggered and triggered and triggered and nothing's changing, maybe. But I don't know. What's your take on that?
I think a trigger is a beautiful opportunity because it's bringing something up into your field of awareness that you need to work on, that you need to look at. The thing with triggers is it's up to you how quickly you choose to move through them. So I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing. I mean,
it's a good thing. I mean, it's a door. I would look at a trigger as people talk about fear, and you walk through the door that the fear, is represented by, and you walk into an elevation. So that's what the trigger, I think, is what you're saying is the same type of thing. You can expand off that trigger. It's a red flag, not a red flag. It's an opportunity.
Opportunity for growth.
Yeah, there you go.
Opportunity to expand.
Yeah. So you live in a special place, and that is a special place.
It is
I traveled the country quite a bit in my old career and this one, but I know because I've walked that area. I mean, it's amazing. That whole area is just like vibrant with energy,
It's covered in quartz and mica. This is mica. It's an insulator and a conductor. The land is covered in it. And there's actually I call it a landing pad. There's a lot of ships around here, as you can imagine.
Yeah, there's a lot of shit around here. So I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
I love the fact that people in these circles can speak, without thinking they're going to harm somebody. Being too pious, I think, is hurt us. Being too extreme, too much light is just as bad as too much dark. But it's nice to see that vibration. You're seeing more and more of that in these circles. People just relaxing and chilling out and not being so serious about everything.
Yeah.
So you've been really on a fast track. I mean, you're talking like less than a year and a half. Now you also do energy attunement, right? So
yeah. Technically,
what is that?
Master teacher, but I feel like Reiki just opened the door to allow me to be a clearer channel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. She's in North Carolina, Raquel. So I think that's happened for a lot of people too. Some people have even been saying that Reiki doesn't have the place it had before this last level up. But I agree with you. I think it's definitely like a lead in. You know what I mean? I mean, the hands, if you look at people like the show we had before, the guests did some light language and their hands are always part of it. So
they are. Yes.
It only makes sense. Now, how did the light language thing happen? Did you get a download, or you just start walking down the street and it just started coming out, or were you hearing it in your head, or what?
No. Well, in one of my sessions with Kathy, she put 2 stones in my hand, and I almost flew off the table. I was like, "Oh, I'm home. What is this? I remember this feeling. Oh my gosh!" Like, it's no wonder you can't put human words to things, because this is like no human words that can describe this. Like, what is this? What did you put in my hands? And she said, "Well, they're Lumerian seed crystals." And I was just like, "Well, what's that?" And she's like, "Oh, you may want to explore, the ancient civilization, if you have a chance, and see if it resonates with you." And so when I came home, I started reading about it, and I was just like, oh my God, like I've had past lives there. I know I've been there. I was like a high priestess there. Like all this stuff started coming through.
Yeah.
So I had formerly listened to a lot of Abraham, and then I started listening to some channels from Cryon, and I really resonated with Amber Wolf, and I did her Lumerian codes for healing cards in January. And 3 days later is when I started channeling. And at first it was a lot of funny little beings. And I had an experience in which I lost control because I didn't really know what I was doing. And, they don't really have a light worker handbook for this kind of stuff.
Yeah, they don't have they don't have a handbook for anything on this
No,
trip.
someone needs to make one for sure. Because
Yeah, I think that's what we're doing. I think we're actually setting the new template here.
Yeah. So anyway, I lost a bit of control and was allowing like all these little, beings to come through, and they weren't, lower density in any way. They're just, they were just not of the highest, not
Tricksters,
spiritually.
jokesters.
But as I was like speaking all these different, little beings' languages, I was laughing at first, and then I was speaking to my daughter, and she was standing there, and she looked like a deer in headlights as I was speaking all these streams of language to her. And then I could feel like more of them come in, and like the energy shifted. All of a sudden it was like, oh wait, I need to talk to her, like get out of the way. And one would yank out, and then another one would come back in, and it was like just shifting from like language to language. And then finally, after like 30 minutes, I was just like, no more. And then I fell on the floor, and Indira picked me up, and she goes, okay, I know what I need to do now. I have to work on my telepathy, like, so this doesn't happen to you again. And I'm like, no fucking worry. It's not going to happen again. Like, I'll make sure of that. And then I reached out to a lot of people who, were openly speaking light language. And I was like, what happened? What did I do wrong? And they're like, well, it's nothing you did wrong. You just open yourself like to be a clear channel for anything. And like, you say who and what and when and where, and, you maintain your sovereignty. And after that time, like I've never experienced that again. So,
yeah, because some people that I know that do it, they don't really call anything in. It just comes, right? And the way you're
now,
huh?
And that's now now what I'm speaking is actually like language, my own language that I remember. Yeah. It's not like any being that's coming through me.
Yeah, I see what you mean. I see what you mean. So your daughter was there when this happened?
Yes. Yeah.
I mean, see, and I think that's I have not heard of one story that the crystal child or whatever was present to that degree, right? Just living, I mean, I wasn't doing light language or anything, but I had two teenage daughters for almost 3 years, and they knew Dad was weird, and they knew he was all right, but they also thought he was a little bit crazy, with that part of it. But to have a child in there or a teenager like that, that's actually right. Yeah, you're probably learning more from her than she is from you.
Oh yeah, she's helped me tremendously in so many ways. I mean, she really helped us to like break these ancestral patterns. She's able to like recognize them, especially around self-worth and self-confidence. So yeah, she's tremendous.
What kind of change in the physical, in the material world? Let's put it that way. I don't mean like like material abundance, but what kind of change have you seen in your life since this happened, or as this is happening, like even up to today?
Well, I'm in a place of surrender because, my physical 3D reality is sometimes, not reflective of where my vibration is. But I have so much faith and trust that I'm on the right path. I just have no worries. So for instance, on Friday, I was in a car accident. My daughter was driving. It was the first day she had her learner's permit. And I do take responsibility for the part that I played, although she was the one behind the wheel. But she turned and we crashed. And My ankle is broken, and I was getting onto the ambulance, and they were loading me onto the ambulance. I was saying, okay, thank you God for this contrast. Thank you God for this contrast. The vehicle's totaled. That was my means of supporting myself in the 3D physical world. That allowed me to fill in the gaps. So, you know, most people would be right now in a place of panic.
Yeah.
I can't work. I can't drive. I run this animal sanctuary. I've got lots and lots and lots that I take care of, but
yes.
I'm calm.
Yeah.
And I just know that I will be supported. I know that that was an opportunity to burn through like energy that no longer serves me.
Yeah.
So, you know, I was in so much pain at first. And then as I looked at the monitor and I could see like how crazy my vitals were, and they're trying to get IVs going and they can't find my veins. And then I was just like, wait, I'm connected. I have tools. I don't
Yes.
like spin out of alignment in this way. And as soon as I started breathing, took a breath, and then I just directed the energy to my ankle. And then I started speaking light language in the ambulance.
I was going to ask you. I was going to ask you that. What did the paramedics say?
I wasn't paying attention to them. I was just directing the energy.
They've probably seen a lot. They've probably seen a
I'm
lot.
sure they have. I asked Indira, you know, I was like, what was their reaction? And she said they all looked at her like, what is she doing? And Indira said she just smiled and nodded her head. And then they're just like, okay, like whatever works. Because as soon as I was able to like connect back in, get back into my body, then I was just like, oh, I've got this. And I didn't take any pain meds because I think they block your ability to do really powerful energy work. So
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a powerful statement. But, you know, that's your universe, and you obviously you're making it work. Which
Well,
just shows anybody that, you know, not only that, just the fact that you're actually pushing through this stuff is,
yeah.
I think that's what,
Pain
I think
is
that's a big,
pain.
what's that?
My mantra, as I was saying, okay, thank you God for the contrast, and then I was just like, okay, pain is an illusion. Pain
Yeah.
is an illusion. Like
Yeah.
I've got this. I'm connected. Like,
But a broken ankle, that's a
yeah.
pretty painful thing. There's pain and there's pain. So
Yeah.
it's like, yeah.
Yeah.
So that's cool. Yeah. And so that sanctuary, it's on 40 acres. You live on 40 acres?
Yes.
And you've just, I would assume you have some help there if you've got you know, 40 acres full of animals.
I have my 2 children.
Wow.
3 of us. And my daughter works in Asheville. She's a nanny, and she's already graduated from high school.
At 15.
Yes, she powered through and got through. We homeschooled her. She tried high school for one day. And that
So
was for her.
she's been awake since when? Day
Well,
one.
she was never shut down.
I know, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So what was it like to, because you had to have, if you had her there, and you had to be, you know, aware of enough. I mean, you're working with the animals, even though you weren't conscious of your own energy, maybe, or that it was you.
Yes.
And then living with someone who's on a different frequency. What was that like? Because I know there's people that are doing that now and struggle with the two worlds, really, right?
Her frequency or my former?
No, I'm talking about your ex.
My former husband.
Yeah. So if you're, you know, as you're going through this, was that difficult to do or did he just kind of took care of itself?
Well, he left.
Yeah.
So I didn't have that contrast. I was able to just focus on myself, which if he would have stayed, I would have done anything I could have to save our marriage. So,
wow.
And it was all part of the divine plan. I mean, it has.
Yes, obviously. Yeah.
Way.
Yeah, obviously he was involved with that too.
Absolutely.
At a higher level. Yeah.
Yeah. And he is aware and he believes. So it wasn't like all these things were happening and he was just like, you guys are like freaking nuts. It was just like, it was received. And he is on his own journey of his own awakening. And
Yeah.
whenever shall be, like, I love him in an unconditional way, and I'm grateful. I am so grateful.
You know, that part of the country, I know, has a lot of lineage, you know, has a lot of powerful spiritual lineage. But at the same time, like you said, I'm from Texas and I've traveled all over the South. So I know how embedded the fundamental Baptist and Christianity is.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have a support system locally besides your friend that kind of guided you through it? I mean, is there a community in that type of environment?
Well, Asheville is very awakened. This area, there's more and more people that are being drawn in. And in fact, I used to, in the beginning, say, like, there's nobody around me who's like me. But now I found out there's actually, like, on this same road, and I'm out in the boonies for being out in the boonies. On this same road, there's several people who are awake and aware. And so it's just interesting. We're creating a very powerful grid point here, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, that those things seem to be happening too, where people are starting to congregate in certain places. You know,
yeah, yeah. So
that's an interesting thing.
my vision is Divine Liberations, and it's this beautiful healing center, this place where people can come, connect in with the energies of Mother Nature. I've got streams and ponds and koi and mossy rocks, and like the energies here are just like totally unbelievable. And the galactics, like, thank you for being here. But my intention is to create this big dome. And I would like to, like, at the top of the dome, have a big crystal grid, and then use like materials like aircrete, or even like, you know, put mica and things like that in the actual material of the dome, and have the bottom be like organite and sacred geometry, and then have a gathering place, a place where we can come and do meditations and yoga and ecstatic dance, and just yeah,
That's
more.
how you do it. Speak what you seek. That's
That's
how
right.
you do it.
That's
Yeah.
right. That's why I appreciate
So
the opportunity, Tom Medina.
absolutely, you're you know, hey, we're as thankful as can be. I mean, all of us. I mean, this is what it's all about. Now, getting to your light language, do you only do that in private, or do you do it in front of 75 people?
No, I've been getting more and more comfortable with doing it in public. I'm still clearing through the fear program of shh, don't let them see you, or, you know, it's
Hmm.
safe to be heard. So yeah, I'm getting there. I was at an ecstatic dance a couple weeks ago, and spirits called me. I'm very much in a place of I've surrendered myself to be of service, and I every day when I wake up, I ask God, you know, just allow me to be of service in a greater way.
Yeah.
And it's interesting when you've done that, because oftentimes you'll have an idea of the way your day is going to go, and then, you know, when you truly have surrendered, you know, oftentimes plans will change. But has called me to speak at this ecstatic dance a few weeks in a row, and I was always like, no, it's really not the right time. And then finally, a couple of Fridays ago, it was kind of a different setting, and I just asked everybody. I was just like, hey, I've been called to speak some language. It's just an ancient remembrance. Mostly it's just frequency. Is everybody chill if I do it? And they're just like, yeah. So I spoke a stream, and you know, I got the nervousness at first, and then I just breathed, and I was just like, okay, I can do this. So I spoke, and then afterwards I had 3 different people come up to me, and the one man especially was just like, are you the one who spoke that ancient language? And I was like, yeah. And he's like, I don't know what that was. He's like, but all of a sudden I saw this bright light in this mountain range. And he's like, I've never experienced anything like that before. Like, thank you. And I was just like, oh, you're welcome. That's amazing. So it's getting out of the way, and just allowing
Yeah.
the best and highest to come through, and being
Yeah.
grateful
This is
to
yeah. This is
facilitate.
what it's coming. Yeah, but this is what it's coming out. I mean, coming down to now. These
Right.
things are coming out more and more. Uh, you know, somebody told me, I don't know who it was. I think it's a friend of mine from Sedona, and she's been doing it for like 10 years. And I don't know where she got the number from. She's like, you know, it seemed like 10 years ago there was only like 100 people doing it, but now it's, you know, more and more people are picking up on it, and it does activate. It does activate people.
It does. It does. And we're a collective consciousness. So the
Yeah.
more people that are stepping out and doing this in public, it's like, oh, okay, it's safe to do that. It's safe to speak our truth. It's safe to shine our light.
Yeah.
Yeah, it kind of paves the way for everybody else. So
Yeah, something incredible happens when you move past the point of embarrassment. You know, you move past the point of shame and blame and, you know, guilt and you know, and really and to me it's that, you know, doing a lot of videos and you know, facilitating a lot of people doing, you know, coming on and speaking and that type of thing. It's the embarrassment part is like the worst part. It's like worse than shame and worse than blame. It's like you don't want to make a fool of yourself. But when you get past that, something incredible happens. And more people are doing it. It's very important for us to expand our throat chakras. So, and so do you have any hardcore? I mean, you're developing this in the energetic fields, this vision you have? I mean, and this did this come to pass when you, after 2017, summer of 2017? Was it part of the last year and a half? It came to you?
well, it was the message. I'm a facilitator. And then I began to see how everything is like kind of like fitting in together now. And so I started having visions of domes. And then connection with Lemuria was like, oh, okay, I'm anchoring that frequency here. I remember that frequency. I went to Shasta in August of 2018. And yeah, it was kind of like connecting in with that frequency. And then I astral traveled to Telos. And now I can kind of see, oh, that's what I'm creating here. I'm anchoring that same frequency here.
Wow.
So, yeah.
That's amazing. Well, you know, I'm sitting in Lemuria right now. I'm just wondering what the latitude, what your latitude is and what mine is, because I keep getting these ringing in my ear. Yeah. And so where do the animals come in? Can you communicate with animals? And has that improved since this has occurred over the last year and a half?
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, I've been communicating with animals my whole life.
Yeah.
It wasn't something that I thought that everybody could do it, really.
Yeah.
And then it was like, oh, no, people aren't connected into animals in the same way that I am.
Right.
So when my former husband and I got together, he asked me what was my bliss. And I said, well, I want to help animals. And his was helping children. So we simultaneously founded a nonprofit animal sanctuary, Blue Heart Sanctuary, and a nonprofit school, Blue Heart School. And
Wow.
both of them at the same time while our children were very young, which was
Wow.
but
He sounds like a good man.
he is an amazing man for sure.
Yeah.
Definitely. But I was an animal cruelty investigator in Florida. And so I worked with the sheriff's department after we started the sanctuary. And so it was the perfect synergistic relationship because the animals had a place to go after they were seized from, you know, horrific situations. And then
Yeah.
I, you know, rehabilitate them.
Yeah. And what about the spirit animals? You know, I mean, is your communication ability, has it expanded with them since you've gone through this over the last year or so? Can you hear different things? Do you see anything different, or is it pretty much the same thing as it was?
No,
You really, yeah.
it's definitely expanded.
Yeah.
I used to, well, I used to say that my third eye wasn't open, but it's just open in a different way. I
Yeah.
don't see the world the same way that my children do, but that's a good thing because someone needs to be able to go out in the dark to get the gate. So we kind of joke around about that. They see a lot of in the dark, and
they see a lot.
they do. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's an less tainted imagination.
Yeah.
So obviously you're going to see more. It's just a matter of knowing. You know that it's all good, right? I mean.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
And so, can you tell us a little bit about how you use the light language in your session? How does that work?
Well, every session that I do is different and it's tailored to each individual person. So, you know, I was just just ask to bring through the highest frequency of love, and ask for every session to, you know, to activate the person in the way that they need at that moment. So I never really know. My sessions are always different. I had one session where, you know, I took up this client's hands and I began to speak to her in light language, and you know, I just saw this expression on her face, and then afterwards she said, "Have you heard of transfiguration?" And I was just like, "Oh yeah, like shape-shifting." She goes, "Yeah." She's like, "You shape-shifted right in front of me." And I was like, "Oh wow." I was like, "I've never heard that before. Like, into what?" And she's like, "You got really tall." And like, I was just like, "Oh, well, thank you for not getting alarmed." She's like, "No." She's like, "I knew it was your divinity coming through." So whether it was, I don't know if it was just some particular aspect of me or if that was what she needed to see at that moment. I've never had anybody else say that they've seen me shapeshift per se, but
you might want to get used to it. You might want to get used to it. So, you know, and how can people, now you do this, do you do this only in person or will you do it online too?
No, I do it online as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And how do, what's that?
I prefer to do it like Skype or
yeah.
know, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah, that's what I mean. I mean, I'm not, yeah. So, but how do people find you? Do you have a website or do they go to your Facebook page?
Well, they can find me through Facebook, or my website is divineliberations.com.
Divineliberations.com.
I also have blueheartsanctuary.org. We're a nonprofit 501c3. So, yeah.
Whatever that is, it sounds too much too matrix for me.
It's the old 3D stuff.
Yeah, I'm kidding.
Yeah,
I'm kidding
we know
with you.
Jasara and Nasara is coming, so none of that's gonna matter.
Oh, whatever. Yeah. I mean, I'm sorry. I don't mean to be sarcastic or closed-minded, but yeah, I'm not gonna you know, lose. I don't want to be a smartass. Listen, I think this is a really good opportunity. You've given us a lot today. Very sincere.
Yes.
You've got an incredible story. This is good for people that are just waking up now because of the, you know, the fact that, you know, the whole thing about how the 3D goes a little bananas while you're ascending into the dimensions, and then also how quick your life has changed.
Yes.
You know, and so that's with these abilities and the skills and expansion of what you already had. Yeah. So I just like to point out to everyone who's on the live right now and anyone who's on the replay. I mean, our sister here just broke her ankle. She doesn't have a car. She's got 40 acres with a bunch of animals to take care of and 2 teenagers, and that's a handful by itself, by the way. I don't care how awake they are. So, yeah, so let's consider supporting her. You guys, I mean, you could see how pure it is, and you know, hit her up on her website, hit her up on Facebook, book a couple of sessions. You know, this is what it's all about in 2019: is gifting forward, paying it forward, and understanding that, you know, it's not the old monetary exchange anymore. It's energy, and it will come back to you. So I don't have any doubt at all that what she does is absolutely extraordinary. And and at least if she shapeshifts in front of you, you won't be in the same room with her. But seriously, if you guys let's support her, you know, join Soulogy in supporting her, and love to have you back on again and see what's going on. Love to try to coerce you into doing some light language and or getting your 15-year-old daughter on here. That ought to be interesting. We might see 2 shapeshifters at one time.
Could I just say something really important for people?
Absolutely. You can say whatever you want.
So we all have these experiences in life, and whether it's your husband of 19 years leaving or getting in a car accident or losing your job or a flat tire, like whatever it is, they're just experiences. And when we can stay in our hearts and we can like reestablish our connection, get grounded, feel our energy field, like it's all just an experience. Just take a step back emotionally from whatever's going on, reestablish your connection, and I promise you, like, everything is going to be all right. Everything is just, everything is unfolding in the divine right way. If you can just look at everything as being divinely orchestrated, it'll just shift your perspective. So when you're having these experiences, instead of like wallowing around in them for however long, you are graced with a choice to quickly pivot. And when you do that, you know, you're back up here, you're in this high vibration, and you get to the point of where this is your new normal. This is what feels good. This is the fifth dimension.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We've got counting 5 requests for your website. So I think you're going to have a little Soulogy abundance coming your way and clientele. And that's what it's all about. So if you would, I think it might be easier. Go ahead and repeat it, but I think it would be better also if you put the just actually put it in the comments when the show's over.
Sure.
So people can see it. Absolutely. And then I'll make sure and make sure as the people watching on the replay, I'll bring it back down. I'll just copy and paste. I do it for others.
Perfect.
So
it's Divine Liberations.
DivineLiberations.com.
DivineLiberations.com.
Everybody got that? DivineLiberations.com, and maybe somebody can even write it down. All right. We'll get it in there, though, one way or the other. If you don't see it in there, you can do it. You don't have anything else to do. You're going to be sitting in the chair. You can't even walk.
I know.
You're a beautiful sister. Thank you for sharing space with us and honoring us with your presence. Mm-hmm. I know you'll be feeling very healing and feeling very good very quickly, you know, with your abilities to heal that you've already shown with healing yourself and these animals. We'll reach out to you, you know, maybe later next month and see if we can get together again if you're open to it. Collaborate since you're such a talker now. You spent all those years not talking, so you're going to have to talk now.
I know, right? Look out.
All right. Yeah, look out. Okay, we'll see everybody in another hour and 7 minutes for another show. And thank you so much, Shelley. Take care. Best to you and your kids.